Many of the families that we work with in Safe Families for Children are experiencing any number of crises in their lives. Oftentimes it might be that they're searching for stable housing, or they're recovering from a medical crisis, or possibly wrestling with an addiction issue. The common thread that we find in all of the families that we work with is that they don't have a healthy support system around them. Isolation really is the single most significant contributing factor to an episode of child abuse. Desperate people make desperate decisions. In desperation, sometimes poor choices are made, and oftentimes children pay the price.
When I met Rebecca, she was very much in crisis, and she needed to get into a housing program. She had been sober for about 45 days. So for her to reach out for support of a host family was huge. It meant maybe, just maybe, he could be in a safe place.
When we heard about how Safe Families directly cared for children, that was the big draw for me. As being parents of 3 young kids, I called Alyssa with Safe Families, and she described the situation. I'll be honest, it was a really emotional moment, thinking about bringing another child into our family and the circumstances under which he was gonna have to say goodbye to his mom.
It was really hard when the first family was going to take him, because I'd never been away from him.
Throughout our hosting of Charlie, I had a lot of phone calls and text messages with Rebecca. She was going through a lot, trying to get things in order so that she would have space in her life to take Charlie back.
And Sarah and her husband were just amazing. There was kind of just a kinship right away. I knew she'd be great with Charlie. And she had adorable little ones that he could play with.
Really, Rebecca was looking for community. She was looking for people who would walk life alongside her and support her, to show her how to be a good mom to Charlie.
The goal of Safe Families for Children is really pretty simple. We look to re-engage the church at the forefront of caring for kids and families in crisis. We call that hospitality, and we believe that the church is called to live out its mission of hospitality with kids and families in their own neighborhood that are struggling during times of crisis. And we hope that in doing so, that these kids and families will be able to stay together, that they won't need to go into foster care during a hard time, but instead they'll find a place of hope and help and healing in their local church in their neighborhood.
I was surprised how well the Safe Families kids blended with our kids, and how quickly they became friends and playmates and honorary siblings in our family, with activities and meals, and our kids really just accepted having these new friends staying with us.
Every situation is different. Families call us with all different types of crisis. Sean has 3 kids. What was happening is he had been economically struggling. So he was a chef at a restaurant, but living paycheck to paycheck. When he would go to work to earn money for his family, not having childcare, he would sometimes leave the kids at home with Xavier, who's 11 years old. And he had a neighbor who called Child Welfare Services. We set to work on the process of matching him with the appropriate host family that would really be able to go the distance with Xavier.
Well, we first heard about Safe Families. I was actually driving home from work, and I was listening to a podcast, and our pastor was speaking to Safe Families, and I got to tell you, it just touched my heart. Our first hosting was a young boy, 11 years old.
You know, you can't help but feel bad for the child. So you try to get to know them and ask questions and understand what it feels like from their perspective.
Allowing him to live with the Moys allowed for Xavier to really be a kid, to really be freed up to just play outside and go to school.
The volunteers of Safe Families for Children, man, they're of every shape and size. We currently have over 450 host families in Southern California.
In San Diego County, we have a lot of people that are waiting for housing. There's a lot of homelessness. And we really want to see the church returning to the role that they always had, caring for the most vulnerable in our society.
Safe Families for Children needs you. Maybe today you can open your home and invite a child in, or be part of the team of volunteers who are going to support those families. You might be able to make a financial donation or join the prayer team and lift up all of these needs. Whatever it is, you can make a difference in the life of a child today by visiting olivecrest.org/safefamilies. With just a couple of minutes of your time, you can begin filling out your application and start the process of making a difference in the life of a child.